stomping drums, distorted guitars, bass heavy with gang chant, choruses raw, gritty punk energy. Mood, aggressive, defiant, rebellious, anthem for the streets. Infamy, Mussolini, backroom cokehead crisis. Infamy, Mussolini, spaghetti bullshit artists. Spaghetti bullshit artists. Infamy, Mussolini, your name will die. Oi, 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 you can't silence me.
That's a new song, Infamy, Mussolini. Hey, so hey, we're back to do some more of what I was doing before. That being said, I gotta get my glasses. So yeah, I just sent this email off to the police, off to everybody before, showing that on the 21st of September last year, this thing happened where the mafia came around here to try to fucking a couple times. I called the police. The police didn't respond, and then when I went around to the police station and then to try to report it, and then all this other stuff happened, and then the cheesecake thing and all that shit, but. The thing is the police here have been collaborating with the mafia, and I've sent the number plate of the mafia people that they've been collaborating with. But what you will find is that they all associate together, and that it's an Italian related thing. So we went over Amy earlier, okay, and we went over Dilbaz. Now, this is the one when I was telling you that she's fucking paranoid. I'm a 24-year-old, and this is Sharon May Champion. You're a fucking champion, Sharon, aren't you? I'm a 24-year-old married woman who resides at an address known to the police. My husband, Farat Dilbaz, and I own, manage and work full-time in a kebab shop located in the Stockland Shopping Centre on Bowman Road, Caloundra, by the name of Kebab Haven. Farat purchased a shop around about 3.5 years ago, and I started working there about a year ago. Primarily, my role is customer service and food preparation, and I would spend most of my time at the front counter serving customers. We offer a variety of Turkish food with a focus on kebabs, and all of our food is takeaway, and we don't have the facilities for dine-in. But actually, people eat around that area, or they did back then, because there was some tables and stuff around there. So that's not exactly true. On the other side of there was tables. So towards the end of 2019, just prior to Christmas, I recall that I was sitting at the bench outside the kebab shop, and I was having my lunch as per usual. So you can see the statement contradicts itself, because it says our food is takeaway as we don't have the facilities for dining in. Towards the end of 2019, I was sitting at the bench outside the kebab shop. So you've just contradicted yourself in your statement. A male person approached me from behind and leaned right into my personal space and started up a conversation with me. So I was like, this woman is eating, right? This woman's eating, and I'm like, hey, baby, hey there. What you eating? Can I have some? Oh, that's fucking nice. Well, what's your name, baby? I'm Dave. Just got here from Vietnam. You mind if I take another bit off your plate there, ma'am? Hey there, I'm Dave. Hey, how you going there, lady? Going good there, huh? Yeah, all right. Okay, so male person approached me from behind, leaned right into my personal space, and started up a conversation with me. I was surprised at how close he leaned in, and as it felt way too close, considering he was a complete stranger. but I indulged him a little and made some small talk. Okay, let's do this. How far away was I from this lady when I was speaking to her? About 5 meters, I'd say. This far. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 meters. Maybe. My sister's shop is here. The lady is on a seat over, like where my seat is here. And I was like, hi, how you going? Way too close for your personal space. I leaned right in, so I was like, hey there. Hi. What you doing? What you eating? Hey? What you eating, lady? How's it going? I'm Dave. Off from Vietnam. How's it going? I'm just going to sit here and watch you eat. My pet hate is people watching me eat. But I'm just going to sit here and watch you eat. Fucking crackheads. Fucking crackheads. Let's continue. I was surprised at how close he was standing. Ridiculous. And even my sister-in-law, who fucking hates me, and the people at the fucking sushi store would say, "You were standing at the sushi store. That's like a 5 or 6 meter away from where you were sitting, lady." That's what they'd say. So, but this is it, like, right? What is she trying to say here? A male person approached me from behind and leaned up in my personal space. It's like he's just come up to me. Hey, baby, I'm going to do you from behind right now. I don't know you at all. How you going? I'm starting up conversation. And then she's like, oh, I'm very surprised at how close you're being right now. But I'm going to indulge you a little, although you're a stranger, and make some small talk to be polite. Doesn't really make much sense. I would describe him as late 30s in age, about 185 centimeters, 198 actually, dear. Height, skinny, Caucasian, slightly hunched over, reddish brown hair, which he combs back. Oh, there's description of me is great. So this is where it gets here. Ruddy skin with sunspots, as he has spent a considerable amount of time outdoors, and he has small, squinty eyes. Okay, small, squinty eyes. David has small, squinty eyes. Okay, let's do this. Jewish racial slur. Small, squinty eyes, etc. Okay. So it says here that that beady eyes and squinty eyes, right, are a common anti-Semitic trope. Okay? Racial slur, beady eyes. So list of ethnic. So in America, what they used to refer to Jewish people as beady-eyed Jews. Okay, so you have to bear in mind, this lady, all the information she knew about me that she's relayed to you now, she's relayed to you after she saw me with Menachem, the rabbi of the Sunshine Coast. So she's calling me a Jew here, and the lady that's written it down, she's helped her do it, because she knows too that squinty eyes is the same as calling someone beady-eyed. Okay, it's just a synonym it would have been about 3 p.m. or 4 p.m. as is usually when I have my lunch. And when I went back into the shop, I went up to my husband and said something like, I just had a guy try to chat me up. We brushed it off at the time and ended up referring to this Dave as the Vietnam guy, as he had mentioned that he had previously lived in Vietnam in our conversation. So what I've written here is what's written here is 10:30 a.m. is when I met this woman, when I was getting food from my sister-in-law. So it's a lie. And see here, so according to the Anti-Discrimination Act, right? According to the Anti-Discrimination Act of 1991 of Queensland, it's unlawful to treat a person unfairly because of their sex, relationship, or parental status, race, Vietnam, right? Religious belief or activity, political belief or activity, impairment, trade union activity, lawful sexual activity, pregnancy, breastfeeding needs, family responsibilities, gender identity, sexuality, age. It's also against the law to treat a person unfairly because they are linked to someone from one of these groups. Racial discrimination means a person is treated less favorably because of their race. Sometimes this unfair treatment can be against the law under the Queensland Anti-Discrimination Act of 1991. Race has a broad meaning and includes colour, descent, or national or ethnic origin. Race discrimination is against the law for a range of activities. The more relevant for licensees are if the person is purchasing goods or services in shops, hotels, cafes, or other places, applying for employment or employed at licensed premises, renting accommodation or motel room. Business operators are required to register their business name. So the thing is this documentation is the police created this hate documentation here in a way to fabricate a hate crime. But what they didn't realize is because they're so low IQ is that they were actually admitting to fabricating the hate crime and they were creating a hate crime. It's like a tongue-in-cheek thing. So this is what you have to understand. When you read police documentation, you're seeing behind the Wizard of Oz here. Okay. So I think it would have been a couple of weeks later, this Vietnam guy, which is racism straight away because I have 2 kids from Vietnam and I was living there for 15 years and I'm famous there. I just noticed him walk back and forth past the shop a few times and he would look directly at me and smile. I began to pick up on it and it seemed often and for comfort. And his look was too long for it to just be a fleeting glance. I felt like he was trying to make eye contact and get my attention, but I couldn't actually see. I could generally see, but not really. And like the people that I was working with up in Nambour, they understand if I don't have glasses, I can't do anything like around a cash register or anything because I can't see. I need to get people to press the buttons for me because I can't see without my glasses. With my glasses, I can do it. So around that time, I pointed him out to my husband Farat and made a comment to me confirming my take on this guy, Dave, within a few days of this time. So these guys are fucking expert human behavioral science fucking experts. They own a kebab shop, right? What do you do, dude? You buy lamb and fucking chicken every day, you stupid motherfucker, and make some fucking kebabs. You have no experience in law enforcement or anything like that. You're a fucking stupid cunt. Okay, so within a few days of this time, this is when they were confirmed their take. So your 24-year-old girlfriend who's your 24-year-old wife who at this time was an expert in cooking lamb shanks, expert investigator, not even using a knife to cut lamb off a fucking leg of lamb. Okay. So noticed that he was following me at a distance. I went into Coles and grabbed the bread. So this is it. They're talking about surveillance patterns and all this type of stuff. They believe that I was surveilling them. If I was surveilling you, you wouldn't fucking know. If I'm walking around minding my own business and then you're following me around going, look, he's following me, then That's the only way that you're going to think that I'm following you. If I was going to follow you, you wouldn't fucking know. Okay? Why would you follow someone in a way that was going to get you caught in the first place? Why would you follow anybody in the first place? What was I going to get out of you? What potential outcome could I have gotten from you? And that's it. When you do that, instead of saying nothing and he didn't give a fuck and he's not interested in me, he's like, oh, well, he must have had to want to kill me. Fucking idiot. I went to Coles and grabbed the bread, and I was keeping a bit of an eye on him as I was starting to wonder if it was just a coincidence or if he was actually following me. So this is it. She was keeping an eye on me. She's watching me. She's telling you that she's stalking and surveilling me. And she's wondering to herself, is he just coincidentally in this shopping center, or is this person following me? Am I having mental health issues here? Am I being paranoid? This is what she's actually admitting to having asked herself. I got to the self-serve checkout and looked up and saw him looking directly at me while he was at the teller, but it seemed like he didn't even buy anything. At that time, I didn't know how to use a self-service teller. I didn't. So that's bullshit. At that time, I always went through the line. I didn't do that. So she's full of shit. Okay. I go through the self-service ones now, but when I first came back for like the first 2 years, I didn't know how to use it. This incident increased my concern from just feeling a bit creeped out to now being a bit concerned that he was actually following me. And I started to feel a little scared. So this is talking about feeling and perception, right? What her perception was and what her feeling was. Are you asking if there was any evidence to support her assertion in the first place or her theory? No. Okay. You haven't asked her that. You've written it down instead of asking her that and you're thinking, oh, I shouldn't be writing this down. This is going to make me look like a fucking idiot. This incident increased my concern from just feeling a bit creeped out to now being a bit concerned that he was actually following me. And I started to feel a little scared. I decided to increase my vigilance and to keep an eye out for him. So this incident, me seeing somebody at a shopping center, not being able to work out in my brain, having all of these contradictory feelings, believing that I saw somebody following me, so I followed him, and I became very vigilant, and I started to stalk him. I started to keep an extra eye on him because I perceived his behavior as being a threat when he was just in the shopping center minding his own fucking business. And the whole time I was asking myself, am I right about this, or are my feelings and emotions wrong? So this incident of me wondering if I was imagining whether or not this guy was following me or not increased my concern and my paranoia from just a feeling of a bit creeped out to now being more concerned. So a feeling of a bit creeped out to a feeling of a bit more concerned. It doesn't make any sense. What is a feeling of a bit more concerned? What is a feeling of a bit creeped out? On an emotional scale, what are you talking about? You're talking about rubbish. That's what you're talking about, Stephanie Lazarus, you dumb cunt. So the incident increased. Okay, so I decided to increase my vigilance and to keep an eye out for him. So now I was a bit concerned. I was thinking I couldn't work out if I was imagining things or not. And then at the end of it, I came to the conclusion that I had to start following this guy and becoming more vigilant. So I left and I started to walk back to the shop. And while I was walking, he came up behind me and caught me off guard. I actually jumped as he seemed to appear out of nowhere. So it seems like what she's talking about, right, is like, it sounds like somebody's like, hey there, baby. Hey. Instead of like you're walking along with a trolley here or something, right? And then there's somebody's walking this way, somebody's here, and like you're like got a trolley or something and you're like up here, right? So does that mean that if you're walking in the same direction, does that mean that you're following somebody? Because what you've said is you couldn't work out whether or not you were imagining that he was following you or if it was just routine behavior that you were misinterpreting. So left Cole, started to walk back to the shop. And so again, he leant right into my personal space and again asked me my name and reintroduced himself as Dave and said something about how he loves the kebabs from the shop. So what she's doing is equating multiple interactions into one big kind of bullshit, a false equivalency. So one time I walked through the shopping. One time she saw me at Coles. One time she saw me walking through the shopping center when she was walking in with supplies with her husband. And this was before when they were still friends with my sister-in-law and still friends with my mum and everything. And I said, hey, I tried the food the other day. The kebabs at your shop are great. And I say stuff like that to people all the time. It's just called being polite. Okay, so I leant right into his personal space, but now I didn't even. So yeah, again, he leant right into my personal space. And at this time, I was wearing a mask because it was COVID. I was wearing a mask and gloves. I was the first person and everybody was telling me I was paranoid. So there's no way during COVID that I was getting close to anybody. It doesn't matter who it was. I didn't get close to anybody during COVID or before pre-COVID. I was the first person in Australia to talk about COVID on the 31st of December, 2019. So again, she's talking about me leaning in on her and everybody knows I'm the fucking COVID marshal and I'm not I don't like to get in people's physical space. But now I didn't even pretend to be nice. And although I wasn't rude, I told him my name, but kept walking as I just didn't want anything to do with him. So somebody came up to her, she said, came up behind me, caught me off guard, and actually jumped as he seemed to appear out of nowhere. This is a Jewish magician. Again, he leant right into my personal space and asked me my name. I didn't ask her name. I think I asked her name one time and she told me what her name was. That was it. Which was the first time I met her. Not the fucking third time or something. But now I didn't even pretend to be nice. I just said, hey, the kebabs are nice. And she's like, oh, yeah, cool. Have a nice day. And then she kept on going. She wasn't rude. There wasn't like a major sinister thing. When I got back to the shop, I immediately told my husband what had happened. And my concern was now increasing. The way he would just appear and lean right into my personal space gave me the feeling that he was a sort of person that would grab me or do something inappropriate to me. So this is you're making a suggestion, right? You're making a suggestion towards me that's how it made you feel. Did I touch you? Did I do anything? No, it made you feel. So all your imagination leading up to this and you and your paranoid Muslim husband, this is the conclusion that you came to. I started to feel like I was going crazy as I kept feeling like something just wasn't right with him. But in reality, he actually hadn't done anything too bad by then. I questioned my own thoughts as to whether it was even rational or not, but I just couldn't shake feeling creeped out by him. The beady-eyed fucking Jew bag, right? So Farat and I actually started referring to Dave as my stalker. So they cast me in a role because they decided they were going to get some money out of it because they're fucking scum. Around January, I noticed Dave speaking with a female person who works straight across from the shop that I know as Dora. So I actually started referring to him as stalker, and we were concerned enough to mention it to toothless, little dickless Daryl, the security guard based at the shopping center. Around January, February, I noticed Dave speaking with a female person who works straight across from our shop that we know as Dora, David's sister-in-law. At the time, I know Dora quite well, and once Dave was out of earshot, we had a conversation about Dave. I was surprised to find out that Dave was actually her brother-in-law, so I was diplomatic about how I asked her for her opinion on him. Dora was very clear about her opinion and completely confirmed my justification for feeling concerned about his behavior. It was at this point that I made the decision that if I ever came across Dave in circumstances that I felt threatened that I would call 000 for the police to attend. Okay. No worries. You'll call 000 for seeing somebody walking through the supermarket after you've concocted this big imaginary story. Okay. For context, Dora was having multiple lesbian affairs with the lesbians that work at the sushi store. January 2024, she did a flit. She disappeared. She was trying to steal the kids, but the kids outsmarted her. She fucked off to Taiwan and she left my family and fucking left my brother in dire financial straits, took all of the money, and hasn't spoken to her kids. Sends them like a care package every month or something of fucking noodles and shit, but we haven't heard from the bitch since like over a year. Okay. So I went straight back to the shop and I talked to Fire Rat and again, and we agreed to be even more vigilant to prevent any opportunity for Dave to do something to me or get to me. So they're like, this guy's here because he wants to do something to you, baby. He wants to get to you, baby. He's a Jew. I recall that around this time I was standing facing our shop cleaning the windows when all of a sudden Dave just appeared behind me out of nowhere and said, hello. He was that close that he could have actually brushed up against me. And I jumped. See, it's just like they're making the fact that this Sharon May champion wrote this out. You shouldn't have a job. I can fucking sue you for defamation from this fucking shit, right? If it wasn't for your little fucking Scott Taylor fucking friend, right? Here. So I recall around this time, a bit later, Frat and I watched CCTV footage and it showed Dave walking directly towards Kmart. And then on seeing me, he changed direction and veered straight for me. After saying hello, he returned to where he had been walking. So I said hello to somebody in a shopping center, and then you're trying to say that it had something to do with you. But you're there, yeah. I said hello to everybody. It's not just you. So I think that perhaps someone might have been spoken to Dave about his behavior. No, because you wouldn't think that walking through a shopping center and minding your own business and not conversing with these people and these people imagining what you're doing and what you're thinking and what your motivations are, that there would be no way that there could be a criminal case that would come from something so fucking ridiculous. Okay, so although this time we've been keeping one of our employees updated, partly to keep her in the loop, but also so she was aware of him for their own safety. So this just goes, Dilbaz told Amy to say this and Ada to say this, or Ada and Dilbaz came up with this plan together. Then it seemed that the attention that I had been getting from Dave shifted onto Amy. Dave would walk past the shop and stare at Amy to try and get her attention, just like he would previously do to me. I didn't know Amy too well, but we ended up getting close as we worked together. And then we ended up telling me what had they known each other before I got there. It's such a fucking load of shit. Okay, so Tuesday the 15th of September, I received a text message from Amy. Oh God, your stalker just came up to me in Kmart. The awkward guy. And then I replied, do you need me to come save you? And then she replied, haha, I fully rejected him. As I said, I already have 10 boys. Pardon me. I didn't know what I was thinking. So strange that you have fucking 10 guys. We continued to message back and forth, and these messages confirmed that Dave had been following Amy around the store. That's what it confirmed with my this expert investigator bitch, right? Okay, so been following Amy around the store. Quite some time after this, I had a conversation with Amy where she was told that she had seen Dave not far from where she lives while she was out early in the morning walking her dog. And again, he tried to initiate conversation with her. Dave goes walking in the mornings all the time, and you saw him when you're walking your dog in the morning. You've seen me running as well, like other times. A couple of months prior to this, I also recall an incident that Dora told me about when apparently Dave had given one of the girls who works at Frocal's a box of chocolates with his name and number on it. I gave to the lesbian friends of my kids not a box of chocolates, a fucking block of cherry ripe chocolate back during COVID when you could get like fucking 3 blocks of cherry ripe chocolate for like fucking $4 or something like that. Okay, so what would that mean? So if you gave somebody something 2 months before and you hadn't spoken to them or anything like that, and you just gave them something, you gave them a gift. So I've had people, my mum and I have done favors for people here, and then they've dropped off boxes of chocolate for me at my mum's work in Pelican Waters. Okay. It's a common thing. So my fear continued to, so this is it. All these little incidents and conversations that I had been having with people all confirm my feelings. All these rumors, tales, lies, and exaggerations about this guy that we didn't know highlighted how real the threat was and that it wasn't my imagination. My fear continued to increase, and at times I'd be overwhelmed with anxiety and panic attacks. You need to take medication, my dear. Then on the 23rd of September 2020, Farhat told me that an incident that had occurred outside of the Commonwealth Bank located in the Stockland shopping centre. Farhat said that Dave had actually approached him and tried to introduce himself. Forever Fat was very clear and blunt with him that he was to stop stalking his wife, meaning me, and the staff, and to leave us all alone. We didn't see or hear from Dave for about 2 or 3 weeks after this, which was such a relief considering he would be at the shopping center 2 or 3 times a day minding his own business. So it was great to have a reprieve from this guy minding his own business in a democratic society, because we're used to this being the Ottoman Empire. Okay. Later that evening, so on the 10th of October, during the day, Dora came into the shop and had a conversation with Farhat. Immediately after this conversation, Farhat told me about the video post on Facebook that it was allegedly Dave had posted. Later that evening, Farhat spent quite a bit of time stalking Dave on Facebook and discovered that Dave actually posted podcasts where he speaks about various things, and often 5 to 10 videos a day. As there were so many videos, Farhat searched through them to try and find the day where they had their minor altercation outside the Commonwealth Bank on the 23rd of September. He found that there were 3 podcasts from that day, watched all 3 of them. As we were watching them, Farhat screen recorded these videos, which we saved. I'm able to produce a copy of these recordings. The first one was 30 to 35 minutes, and it was a full rant where he unleashed a tirade of hate speech directed towards both my husband, myself, and our shop, but also extremely racist towards Turkish people, and specifically targets us as Muslims. I didn't talk about Turkish people in that at all. I just called you shitbag, fucking scummy, fucking Taliban cockroaches. Okay? We have worked hard to build up a reputation at our vomit. We work hard and treat our employees like family. So you get your family to fucking lie for you, scum. And to hear someone make up absolute lies saying that we use horse meat, or that someone supposedly had COVID and our shop is unhygienic and that we don't adhere to hygiene standards. So the best thing about this is that the first case of COVID-19 occurred at that shopping center when it hit landfall on the Sunshine Coast. And you ended up, the people at your shop were some of the first people to get COVID too, right? So, and that we don't adhere to hygiene standards. It is total defamation of us and our business, which have no doubt will suffer the negative consequences of the future. In the future. In the video, there were several lines that just jumped out at me that I recall, and I was just shocked to see such a vicious attack on us when we had done nothing. Despite this, he calls us names like jihadi cockroaches and musos, which means musician. Apparently, they tried to say something else, but I've never used that word, and I used it one time today. I'm not going to use it again. And says that we were radicalized, and if you want diarrhea, go to Kebab Haven. I was so angry at seeing a virtual stranger. Unless you seem to know so much about this virtual stranger, which had nothing which towards us when he had done nothing, when we had done nothing towards him. Well, you were saying you were following him around and you had this big vigilant fucking plan to call Triple O on this dude for him minding his own business. He even turned around him stalking me and our employee Amy as us making a move on him. So look at how you've explained it. You explained that you got paranoid about this guy. You're following him around, and then you're looking for incidences and you're looking for evidence to support your fucking theory that I was interested in you or I was going to hurt you or something like that, or touch you or something like that. That's your theory here, right? So watching the video made me feel sick, but also the fears, which I wasn't sure previously as having any basis for, were all now confirmed and were absolutely real and confronting. So this is somebody who needed confirmation who needed evidence to confirm her confirmation bias. There's no way of her breaking her idea that I was a threat. She just considered I was a threat, and she was looking for evidence to confirm that, to support that, her confirmation bias. So the second video was about the same length. Something, and had more of a terrorist tone to it. Dave talks about bombing our shop and makes up lies about unsanitary practices in the shop he wants to fight for at. He talks about Caloundra being his town, and then these musos, Muslims, come in and take all our jobs and take over. It's almost like he's trying to incite followers to band together against Muslims and target our shop. Does that say, do I say that in any of those videos? No, I didn't say that. She said that. Did I write that down? No. Sharon May Champion wrote that hate down. That vitriolic, hateful fucking statement was fabricated by Sharon May Champion, who needs a fucking bullet. The whole video is like watching something out of a movie where some radical terrorist is trying to incite violence, but this is Dave from the shopping center and he is targeting us. It is surreal. I can't believe that is even happening. I felt completely shocked. And I think because it's so random and unpredictable, it has made me extremely fearful that Dave could easily act on any of these threats he has made. Paranoid, schizoid, narcissist, you're a fucking idiot. We went on to watch the third video and he rambles on about how he was actually me, tried to crack onto him. You know all this information about me, and you were saying that what did you say? I was leaning in close on you and all this type of stuff, and that you were just letting it happen. That's kind of weird, isn't it? If that happened, like, it would be weird. It would be like you were at fault, but nothing happened. So you just imagined it. Okay. So I felt completely shocked. So we went to watch the third video. And then I followed him around, and that my husband and I have marital issues. It's all complete lies and just the ramblings of a lunatic. But then he makes threats directly at both myself and husband and our shop. So the police went out of their way to defame me in their documents and to say these things, right? Because Deegan James Grime wants to make it that him and Patrick Brian Gardner and John Mahoney and these cunts at the Caloundra station have, they're the ones that have the lion's share over, they're the only ones that have government jobs. They're the ones that control government jobs. These corrupt piece of shit fucking cunts here are the ones who come up with that. So they fabricate evidence. We know, everybody knows that you fabricated this fucking evidence. This lady's imaginations and ramblings are what you used as a case documentation. This is low IQ, Sharon May Champion. You're a fucking stupid piece of shit. So I'm a proud Muslim woman, and I feel that Dave is demeaning me as a woman and demeaning my faith. This is already so much. This is all feelings. This is all bullshit. I'm terrified that this person, Dave, will be able to influence others, like-minded people, to act against us, and as we have done nothing to deserve it. Okay. Soleimani, you blew that piece of shit up. You need to kill more motherfuckers like Soleimani. They were after me because of Soleimani, okay? So this is all rubbish. You're terrified that this person will be able to influence others. I want all of the people that I can influence to fuck up your business, to fuck up David Christofouli, to fuck up Stephen Miles, to fuck up Anastasia Palaszczuk, to fucking flush you scummy pieces of fucking shit down the toilet. So the following morning, we went to Police Link and all this shit, right? Sunday, security guard Daryl Stocklands. Shortly afterwards, I understand the centre management decided that they were going to ban Dave from attending Stocklands. Then Dave was cited at the shopping centre and then served a banning notice. Okay, once a banning notice was served, Farhat and I were closing up for the day and we were talking about the whole thing. And then Farhat checked the same podcast as previously and he found that Dave had just posted one at 4:13. The video goes on 24 minutes and is another rant, threats directly at the security staff, his sister-in-law, and Amy. No, it's not threats, okay? Unlike his other videos, he's just irrational and psychotic. This last video is much more controlled and contained, and he portrays an image like his victim. Each video left me feeling my feelings. Bitch, does that mean it's real? No, that's the difference between, what is it? Perception and, what does Andrew Bustamante says? Perception and what's the other one? Perspective. Okay. You didn't ask Sharon May Champion, am I writing perspective or perception? Or doesn't matter? When I ran out, okay, so I went out that evening. Okay, so each video has left me feeling panicked that he is actually capable of carrying out any of these threats directed at me, because I started to imagine all this from the beginning. Remember, my husband, our staff and business, I'm too afraid to be alone. I won't go out for my evening run as I usually do. I won't put the bins out by myself. I don't want Farhat to go to the gym and leave me in the house alone. We walk Amy to her car at the end of her shifts and we're all constantly vigilant that he is going to appear and do something. Did he do anything but tell your husband to get fucked and make podcasts about it? No. While I am out and about, I check over my shoulder, looking out for him and all this stuff, right? Dave appeared. I can't concentrate. So when I'm out and about, I check over my shoulder looking for Dave MacMillan. I check my rear view mirror when I'm driving. Dave doesn't have a license and he hasn't driven one time since he's been back. I hear noises at night and I jump thinking that it's him. I think you need medication, ma'am. I now startle easily and I have trouble sleeping at night for fear of Dave appearing. So this Jew, beady-eyed Jew, is going to appear in your mirrors. And these are all kind of superstitions that Turkish children are told about Jews and the tricks and the magic tricks that Jews can do. This is all Ottoman Empire. The Jew is a beady-eyed little person who can do magic tricks. He can follow you. He just appears out of nowhere, the Jew. He's there. He's interested. The Jew, he doesn't like the Turk. He's just after the Turk. Each video left me feeling panicked. So when I'm out and about, I check over my shoulder looking for him. I check my rear view mirror when I'm driving. I hear noises at night. I jump thinking that it's Dave. I now startle easily and I have trouble sleeping at night for fear of Dave appearing. So remember back here about, I don't know if I was just imagining things, partly to keep in the loop, but like I didn't know if I was just imagining things. Stalker, right? The Vietnam guy. So the sad thing is people have read this and they took it as like, now I know about Dave MacMillan. I'm going to use this as a strategy to deal with him. I'm gutted that my husband and I work so hard and love our business. We're good, decent people that uphold the law. So this was a line of fucking bullshit, okay? It was a line of bullshit. Anybody who can read can work that out, okay? Thank you for listening, guys.